Shadows flicker along ancient stone as the courier's footsteps rush down a candlelit hallway. "Urgent," he stammers, chest heaving, pressing a sealed envelope into a cardinal's trembling hands. Crimson wax cracks, a symbol none recognize pressed into its center. He slides out the photo. Edges glow faintly, gold curling into the air. For a breathless moment, every cardinal leans in, silent. One mutters, voice shaking, "No sender, no stamp. It wasn't sent. It appeared." The others trade uneasy glances, backs pressed tight to embroidered chairs. Light scatters from the rose window, shards of color sliding across the marble, merging atop the strange photograph. A chill glides through the room. "Look how it glows," whispers an elder, his fingers half lifting a rosary. The head of the council, vestments rustling, brings the image closer. Why does it pulse now? His hands tremble, but he cannot set it down. The cardinal at his side leans in even closer, eyebrows furrowed. "I remember that face. From the old stories, from those dreams," he breathes, as if the confession alone risks everything. A sudden draft flutters the velvet drapes. Candle flames gutter, then straighten, as though summoned to the table. Chairs scrape as another cardinal stands, peering through his spectacles. Is this a sign or a summons? Why tonight? His voice is half accusation, half awe. The courier lingers alone at the door, wide-eyed, uncertain if he's meant to be witness or participant. "I just followed orders," he claims, voice barely above a whisper, eyes never leaving the flickering image. Now, as the photo rests on the council's marble altar, every breath in the chamber grows sharper. Unbidden, memories stir, lines from forbidden books, prayers said in secret, stories too mysterious for daylight. Still, no one dares touch the image again. Instead, cardinals brace themselves for whatever revelation, warning, or ancient echo this arrival has unleashed, each one whispering, with equal parts fear and hope, "We can't explain this." Light quivers on the photograph, spilling rainbows across the shadows, as if waiting for the next name, the next answer, or the next awakening only you can bring. The council chamber darkens as velvet drapes hush the windows, only the faintest candlelight wobbling against mosaic walls. 12 cardinals, faces drawn and solemn, gather in a tight ring around the table. The photograph lies between them, still shimmering faintly where rainbow light once crossed its surface. A younger cardinal clears his throat. "We must proceed in confidence." His fingers tremble as he opens a battered journal, leather cracked, pages yellowed, a relic itself. He scans an entry, voice barely a whisper. "The last time an image like this arrived, the archives say the world shifted in ways no one could control. It was centuries ago." For a moment, no one breathes. Incense curls through the room, a thin, sweet veil masking the scent of old parchment. The council leader draws the photo close, gaze steady but uncertain. "We've all heard stories. A painting that wept, a bell that rang without hands. But never before has a face chosen this chamber." A silver-haired cardinal shakes his head, running thumb and forefinger along his crucifix. What prophecy does this fulfill or break? Another, more skeptical cardinal mutters, "We're priests, not sorcerers. Are we meant to interpret or simply keep this secret until it passes?" Beside him, a nervous cardinal whispers urgently, "The old books warned about omens from outside. This can't be ignored." A hush settles after every confession, old fears and forbidden hope clashing in every glance. Each cardinal touches the photograph in turn, pausing, eyes closing. One flinches. It's not cold, he murmurs. It's listening. Distant bells toll midnight, a sound deep and slow. No one moves for a breath. Then, softly, the council leader sets his hand on the journal, voice resolute. Whatever this is, we will face it together. The world cannot afford another silence. Not now. The candle flame bends toward the center. In that moment, between faith, memory, and dread, each cardinal senses the weight of story shifting and knows that once confessed, some mysteries cannot be returned to shadows. Mosaic shadows slide across the council table as the first morning bell rings, its sound absorbed by walls thick with secrets. The photograph, your photograph, rests at the center, but something new stirs at its edges. A Vatican relic, half buried in dust on a nearby shelf, hums with a faint, restless energy. A visiting scholar, summoned in the dark hours, sets down a copper tray. "Look," she murmurs, pointing to the wooden desk beneath the image. Burnt into its surface overnight is an unmistakable Celtic knot, fresh, dark as pitch. The group freezes. Another sign, unexplained. "I didn't light a candle there," whispers one cardinal, breathless, as a golden shimmer coils up the stem of a silver chalice. Another relic, a carved staff, begins to vibrate softly, its pattern echoing a script none remember learning. "Does this mean the legends are true?" an elder asks, his hand wavering, torn between hope and dread. The council leader summons Vatican cryptographers, and soon the chamber fills with murmurs in Italian, Hebrew, Tibetan, each expert tracing different runes, each reading their own mystery. A scholar from Jerusalem places her palm over the chalice, closes her eyes, and whispers, "The energy is old, older than this city." She draws a spiral in the wax pooling at her feet, its lines swirling and twisting into rune shapes. Tempers fray, priests and scientists debating beneath breathless arches. "Is this holy or dangerous?" asks the youngest council member, voice breaking. The Tibetologist answers quietly, "Not everything mysterious is meant to be explained. Sometimes presence itself is the answer." While voices crescendo in a swirl of languages and conviction, the air vibrates with a hum felt more than heard. Wax continues to melt, casting new symbols along the edge of your photograph. Each cardinal watches, but none dare touch, fearful that the next sign might demand more than belief alone. A silence falls as the light returns, silver and cold. For one moment, the council stands united, not in certainty, but in awe before the convergence of relic, ritual, and what cannot be denied. The letter is heavy, gold edges, an unfamiliar Vatican crest pressed into the wax. My hands shake as I break the seal, sunlight just touching the windowsill. "To the one whose image has crossed our altar," the letter reads in looping Latin and English. "Your presence is requested in Rome. For reasons beyond our knowledge, it is urgent. May faith go before fear." I stare, unsure if it's a mistake, a joke, or something older. My breath mixes hope and terror. That night, I dream of red-tiled rooftops, church bells ringing above swirling flocks of doves. When I wake, there's a single train ticket folded with the letter, departure at dawn. Traveling to Rome, the world sharpens. In every station, strangers seem to notice, some nodding as if they understand, others simply hesitant, expressions curious yet respectful. Cobbled stones chill through my shoes, the city waking under a pale golden sky. Vendors wheel carts past ancient columns, while out on a sun-washed piazza, a child scatters seed, and a dove circles wide and slow above the Vatican gates. As I approach the immense bronze doors, guards step aside, not wary, but solemn, like men who've seen too much to be surprised. Inside, a whisper passes among the staff. It's them, the one from the photograph. My heart hammers as a guide leads me quietly past crowds of pilgrims and through echoing marble corridors, each step muffled by centuries of secrets. We walk in silence, my reflection flickering across polished mosaics. At a small threshold, the guide pauses, head bowed. Many people are called to these halls, she says softly. Very few are summoned by name. Don't be afraid if nothing makes sense. Not at first. Her fingers tighten around a string of wooden prayer beads, her eyes full of something that's neither relief nor anxiety, just deep, solemn wonder. Sunrise glints through domes, gold pouring over the ancient stones. As we pass beneath an archway, the hush deepens. A feeling not of entering a church or a courtroom, but the heart of a question that has waited a long time for an answer. You step into the dim chamber, the air heavy with incense and the weight of centuries. The council room feels alive, marble walls pulsing softly under the glow of flickering candlelight. Cardinals sit in their carved seats, faces solemn, robes whispering as they lean forward. My footsteps echo quietly on the stone floor as I am led before them. One cardinal's eyes narrow, the faintest flicker of light tracing a carved glyph on his heavy ring. You carry a presence, he says carefully, voice low but steady, that we cannot fully understand. Tell us, what do you remember of the moment the photo was taken? Of what you saw, heard, or felt? I swallow, heart pounding, searching for words that might bridge disbelief and truth. I felt a resonance, I say softly, as if something hidden beneath the sun had stirred. A light not seen, but felt. Another cardinal, fingers entwined around an ancient rosary, leans in, voice trembling with hidden awe. It was evident in the air here. Candles bent closer, shadows deepened, as if the very essence of faith was challenged and yet called to something new. A silence falls, broken only by the distant toll of bells and the whisper of breath. The lead cardinal studies me, his gaze sharp yet unyielding. Each answer you give swirls with mystery. Some among us fear this is an omen. Others sense a blessing cloaked in uncertainty. I nod, feeling the gravity. It isn't a choice I made, but a path I walk. A journey between what is known and what is yet to reveal itself. My eyes meet theirs, reflecting flickering firelight and an unspoken question hanging between us. As the candle flame curves, casting blue hints across the chamber, a faint sigh escapes the elder cardinal. This moment is more than conversation. It is an awakening, and from it, neither faith nor doubt will remain unchanged. I retreat to my seat, pulse steady, knowing the unseen forces weaving between us have only just begun to speak. Lanterns cast long, trembling shadows as I follow the scholars deep beneath the Vatican, each step echoing through arched tunnels chilled by centuries of secrets. My guide, a quiet man with ink-stained hands, pauses at a heavy iron door. Few are allowed down here, he murmurs, glancing at a ring of old brass keys. His voice carries a blend of pride and unease. But tonight, the council agreed. We need context, not just tradition. The lock clicks open, and we enter a sprawling chamber lined with shelves sagging under centuries of script and stone. Mosaics along the curved ceiling flicker in our lantern's light. Spirals intertwined with cosmic eyes, faded yet alive. Another scholar dusts off a glass case, revealing sketches of visitors whose features resemble mine, faces surrounded by symbols they'd never learned to draw. Look at these, she whispers, holding up a faded painting of a stranger arriving at St. Peter's in a cloak lined with spiral patterns. It's not the first time the sacred and the unexplained have met here. We move slowly past relics tangled in legend, Egyptian stelae, Zoroastrian prayer beads, Aboriginal ochre stones. Each was catalogued, but never explained, the archivist says quietly. They only converge here in these rare moments. Another scholar slides open a hidden compartment. Inside, an illuminated codex describes a day just like this. A stranger called from nowhere. A circle of elders. A surge of energy never spoken of again. I reach out, fingers running over the glass. Was their journey like mine? I ask, voice barely above the hum of electric air. Or do we only see patterns when we need meaning? My guide nods, a rare smile flickering across his face. Sometimes awe is the only answer, and sometimes the archives wake when the world needs reminding. Dust eddies in a sunbeam piercing a high window, painting spirals on the floor. We leave the chamber with more questions than discoveries, but hearts awake to possibility. The marble and ancient paint, the quiet pulse of unseen guardians. Here, the lines between explanation and miracle blur. A hush as each of us realizes, every mystery, once uncovered, becomes not just a secret, but an invitation to remember what endures. A Sicilian priest drizzles olive oil onto my forehead, murmuring prayers lost to all but the oldest cathedral walls. The oil flashes gold across my brow, vanishing before a drop hits the floor. A cardinal lights Ethiopian incense, the fragrant smoke curling through arches where frescoes shimmer in shifting color. Each official, each mystic adds their own ritual. A Latin blessing, a Tibetan bell rung 3 times, a Jewish scholar weaving a red thread around my wrist. Their voices overlap softly. Is this protection or discovery? The exorcist asks, flicking holy water from silver fingers. The scientist at his side records every gesture, curiosity warring with skepticism. The bells begin to ring out of sync, the chamber's light swelling and wavering, first blue, then amber, then a feverish white. No one planned this convergence, but everyone senses something stirring, something more than any one faith or tradition. I keep my eyes open as they chant in whispers. You stand at the edge of 6 worlds, says a Tibetan monk, striking his bell until the sound twists strangely in the air. What wakes in you, wakes in us all. A cardinal steps forward, rosary trembling in his palm. What do you feel? He pressed. I answer, voice trembling, as if the prayers slipped through skin, as if memory and warning braided my spine. My words catch. The olive oil shines briefly on my hand, then evaporates. The chamber hushes as a flicker of blue dances on a painted angel's wing. The debate intensifies. One exorcist draws a sigil in chalk, his worry faint but deep. We are not sure what we see. Is it a miracle, a test, something waiting to be named? Another elder, eyes closed, just nods. Whatever this is, the old rituals do not break it. Perhaps today we will be tested more than you. For a moment, the only sound is the pulse of bell tones. Less melody, more heart thrum. The priest's hand hovers, uncertain. One candle, set at the altar's edge, draws a slender green flame as if beckoned by a breath not present. I swallow, watching the light dapple my skin. The blessing lingers, not as certainty but as a mystery now too bright to ignore. Echoes of oil, smoke, and a chorus of secrets not quite named. Have you ever experienced a moment that defied every explanation? Share your story below. Whispers ride the wind from Rome to rooftops around the globe, long before the Vatican announces anything official. The morning news flickers with rumors. A mysterious visitor, signs from every tradition, counsels in secret through the night. In New York, frost feathers swirl into silver spirals on high windows. A teacher wipes them away, then hesitates, tracing the strange pattern again. In Kenya, Maasai elders stand beneath acacia branches, remembering a prophecy about strangers bearing circles of light. Across Bangkok's rooftops, blue lanterns blossom as monks chant new words of protection into dawn. A rabbi in Jerusalem sets a wire-wrapped stone on his balcony, muttering, "Let the blessing be both shield and answer." In Moscow, a child presses her palm to frosted glass, the spiral etching back beneath her hand before fading into the cold. Friends message across continents. "Did you see the news? Is it real?" A Tibetan monk lights 3 candles, humming as old dreams flutter awake. A Brazilian priest draws gold spirals in dust beside his altar, pausing when the air turns thick and shimmered, wordless and electric. Emotions ripple, a chorus of hope, fear, awe. A journalist in London writes, "Tonight, my neighbor left a candle burning for the unexplained." In Rome, the faithful gather in silent vigil, hands linked, eyes skyward. Skeptics and devotees alike sense something has shifted, ancient and new, a blend of warning and promise. As dusk returns, ordinary life remains, but with a heightened hush, a collective quickening, as if every ritual, every prayer, every silent question is met by a mysterious answer waiting, just out of sight, just beneath the skin of the world. The air is alive, charged, and everywhere, belief and doubt mingle, awakened by the echo of a photo and the power of a story that cannot be contained. Storm clouds swirl high above Rome just as the council reconvenes, thunder rattling the stained glass. The tension inside is heavier than the wind. Cardinals are split. Half demand urgent action, voices hard with fear. "We don't know what you bring," one insists, palm flat on the council table. "Exile is safest. Send them away before the world unravels." His rosary snaps, beads scattering across marble. Another cardinal, tired yet defiant, rises clutching both a cross and a spiral-carved coin. "No. Every age arrives at a moment it cannot control. We should welcome, protect, see what's given, not snuff it out. If this is renewal, don't let fear be the only voice." His words echo, challenged by others who speak of prophecies, ancient punishments, the risk of being too public or moving too fast. Lightning flashes, making icons glare and shadows lengthen. The Pope himself enters, unannounced, face grave yet calm. His staff thuds on the floor, arresting every voice. "Let us hear from the heart," he says. "Faith and caution, secrecy and light. Tradition means nothing if it cannot meet this hour. What would the world lose if we do nothing? What might we gain if we listen instead of judging?" The storm builds outside, window panes shivering with his last word. The council falls into weighted silence. The council leader turns to you, eyes searching for intention. Not for answers, but for truth. "What do you wish for now?" she asks. "Is your presence meant as warning, as a bridge, or as a test? For us as much as yourself?" You steady your breath, feeling not just exposed, but called. The debate swells, a dozen different futures vying for breath, some bleak, some bright. All await the midnight assembly, the final decision, where the Pope's lantern will signal the verdict to the world. Wind howls against the shutters, ancient marble thrumming with unseen tension. In that hush before midnight, Every heart in the Vatican and far beyond waits. This secret could fracture everything or spark a new dawn. The choice is not just theirs, but yours as the world leans in, holding its breath. If you were entrusted with a secret that endangered or uplifted the world, would you reveal it, no matter the risk? Let us know below. Rain taps at ancient windows as midnight draws thick across the city. Candles flicker in every window of the Vatican, their faint, steady glow casting halos on walls and quiet faces. I stand near a window, sensing the world outside. Shadows of pilgrims merging in prayer along the slick stones. Distant cities keeping vigil as whispers move across continents. Within the council's silent halls, cardinals kneel by relics older than memory. The Pope moves softly, lanterns held high, lighting the path past centuries of secrets. Tonight, he whispers, we hold our breath not out of fear, but in awe, to protect and invite what is holy and unknown. His words mingle with prayers spoken in dozens of tongues, some ancient, some new, every syllable carrying hope and trembling responsibility. From my small chamber, I hear the bells counting the hour. Children in far-off places dream of waking to a photo ablaze with silver, each seeing a visitor with eyes reflecting storm-lit skies. An abbot tends a candle through the chill. An imam recites gentle blessings for peace. All over the world, believers and skeptics, old souls and children, sense a hush, fragile, uncertain, trembling on the edge of revelation. As the rain draws warm streaks down stained glass and the hall's stone floors glow with stripes of blue and rose, I stand silently with the others. No sound but whispered prayers, the distant echo of chimes, and the breathing of hearts, waiting, hoping that, when dawn breaks, the answer carried by light will be gentler than the fears whispered through the night. Soft dawn seeps into the chamber, blue and gold refracting through old glass. The council calls me forward, my hands trembling, the photo warm in my grasp. The Pope rests his lantern beside the altar. Every cardinal, still and silent, braced on the threshold of something they cannot name. The Pope gestures gently. We have waited, prayed, and watched. If there is a gift hidden in your journey, let it be known. Do not be afraid to speak of what the photo awakened. Stepping forward, I close my eyes, heat coiling up my spine. Last night I dreamed not just as myself, but as many, I whisper, voice steady even as my heart stutters. Roads curling like spirals, guardians of every faith standing arm in arm, singing words older than any book. I look up. Frescoed angels seem to blink in the flicker. I saw walls dropping, voices joining, a world working together, not apart. A monk's breath catches as the relic on the table glows blue, pulsing with the rhythm of my words. One cardinal's hands hover above his rosary, lips parted in awe. Across the chamber, a sister's tears shine silver in the morning light. The photo is a key, I continued. It connects memories, yours, mine, the world's. It unlocks not just secrets, but a prophecy everyone's been carrying, without even knowing. As I speak, the chamber stirs. A silver chalice vibrates, a spiral unfurling in its base. Murmured prayers, Hebrew, Latin, Arabic, merge into one living chorus. With each phrase, more relics resonate. Candle flames elongate. Walls shimmer with stories painted and hidden for centuries. One cardinal sinks to his knees, whispering, "It was always meant for now." We are not alone in carrying the unseen. Memories race through the gathered. A Jewish scholar sees herself among whispering ancestors. A Tibetan monk tastes mountain wind from his boyhood. I reach out, breathing through the trembling magic. You don't have to explain it or fear it. Just witness and vow to protect what asks for guardianship, not secrecy. The Pope raises his staff, face shining. Today we swear to honor the world's unexplainable, its hope, not just its sorrow or confusion. The age of silence is ending. Let us tend the unseen together, in humility and awe. As the chamber glows with impossible light, fresh vows echo off marble, painting spirals and stars on every heart. For one endless moment, prophecy isn't a threat, but an invitation, binding more than just this room, but all who listen for the world's awakening. Bells toll gently across the city as midday approaches, their echo mingling with laughter and conversation in sunlit piazzas. Word of last night's vigil spreads quickly. Some believe in miracles, others shrug and gossip. I wander narrow alleys, sunlight dappling through banners draped above doorways. Everywhere, subtle signs appear, spiral flags strung between old churches, people greeting each other with touching palms, a few carrying knotted red threads woven with crosses. Inside the Vatican, a council scribe hangs a new tapestry, the cross entwined with a spiral, while elders from distant traditions step forward, voices lifted together. A rabbi from Jerusalem recites a blessing. A Buddhist nun bows, her prayer wheel spinning beside the altar. This city is not the center of the world anymore, she says to a girl beside her, but it can be an open door. Outside, the bells of St. Peter's ring as a line of Tibetan horns sound from a visiting delegation, blending old and new in a sweep of brass and hope. In Rome's markets, children trade stories of the mysterious visitor whose photo glowed in the marble halls. A shopkeeper presses a spiral-stamped wafer into a tourist's hand, wishing her light for every mystery. Skeptics observe with raised eyebrows, but even they glance twice at the markings painted in gold along the alley walls. A man in a suit pauses near a synagogue, nodding as a priest and imam share a brief, silent smile. The city, once tightly guarded in tradition, now pulses with new ritual. Flags, bells, whispered words of welcome, and a sense, just for a moment, that everyone is part of something larger. As the bells fade, I stand beneath an ancient archway, a child skipping by with a spiral pendant glinting at her neck. I realize the legend's power is not in explaining, but in sharing. For every ceremony, every wonder, a new story dawns. The square outside the Vatican gates hums with life. Travelers, children, pilgrims from every corner merging into a sea of color and hope. My steps slow as I re-enter sunlight, council doors closing softly behind me. In my palm nestles the pendant, cross and spiral, gold and silver glinting, its warmth pulsing like a gentle heartbeat. The council's words replay in memory. Your story finishes here only if you choose. A deacon, young and earnest, presses a folded cloth into my hand. This is not just yours, he says, nodding at the pendant. When the time feels right, pass it on. He offers a kind smile, eyes full of questions he doesn't ask. Street vendors glance up, one crossing herself, another offering a colored wafer with a conspiratorial grin. As I move through the crowd, a hush ripples ahead. Just for a moment, heads turn, a single thread of recognition weaving through old and young alike. A girl, no older than 12, hair bright in the sun, stops, staring in wonder. I saw you in my dream, she blurts, clutching a notebook scribbled with spiral motifs. She looks at me not with fear, but with awe and certainty. Her presence reminding me that we are never truly alone when mystery deepens the world. Around us, new keepers gather, some with old talismans, others bearing just conviction in their eyes. A former skeptic quietly slips a small, twisted ring into his pocket, his gaze lingering on the council's windows. A market vendor folds their tablecloth, revealing an embroidered spiral beneath. Each person who steps forward brings their own piece: question, hope, or doubt. And nothing in the city feels quite finished. The air is charged, humming softly. I close my hand around the pendant, feeling its gentle heat. The story leaves with me, but I sense it's entering new hands, restless hearts, every time someone chooses to notice, to question, to carry the mystery forward. The sun shifts, shadows stretching, and with a silent nod of gratitude, I step toward the city's labyrinth. Legend and future curling together as the next keeper waits, somewhere in the crowd, ready to begin their own unexplainable story. Dusk falls softly over ancient rooftops, and the city quiets as I walk its winding lanes. The pendants wait against my chest, both burden and blessing. In every shadowed doorway, candles flicker, their flames trembling as prayers drift quietly into the night. Some are whispered in languages I'll never know. Others are silent, felt more than spoken. A hush that gathers in kitchen corners and cathedral naves alike. The council's parting words echo in my thoughts. Our doors open not because mysteries end, but because wonder is needed. I see it in every window lit with a tiny flame, every face that glances up, uncertain but newly willing to hope. Storefronts close early, but the streets seem wider, softer, like boundaries have loosened, letting a little more humility and awe slip in with the evening breeze. Children crouch along the cobblestones, tracing spirals in sidewalk chalk, arguing over their meanings with laughter. Their parents wait nearby, casting brief, searching glances into the blue mist that pools near the riverbank. For once, the city does not ask for answers. It offers quiet companionship to strangers and locals alike, unsure but more awake than before. A bell tolls, each note carried far by the fog. I pause, my hand resting on the stone archway, feeling the pulse of hope and uncertainty in equal measure. The world behind me, chambers, councils, relics, fades into the background, replaced by a new landscape of small kindnesses, of doors left open, of questions that need no reply. Tonight, every home is a cathedral, every blessing a doorway. I turn toward the fog, heart lighter for the mystery, footfalls echoing an invitation. Whatever comes next, let it find us honest, awake, and willing to carry the unseen. If this journey moved you, subscribe for more mysteries and share. What unexplained moment do you still carry? And how did it change you?